Hello again, Ben here, and welcome back to my channel. So today is August 23rd, it's a Saturday, and we are here for another experiment. What we are going to do today is look at our water-rooted stem cuttings and our fresh cut stems that we planted now about a month ago or so, see how they are doing, and then also have another crack at making some charcoal. So hang on, and I hope you enjoy. So before we get to our water-rooted stem cuttings and our fresh cut stems, I just want to talk about the rest of our field. So as you can see here, it's grown quite nicely actually. So we're just on the edge here because once again I'm leery of the ticks that I've seen previously. But what we see here is that a lot of the grass is quite tall. So it may be hard to get a good idea of height personally, but let's see if we can get an idea. So I'm 6 feet approximately tall, and the grass here is probably, some of this is 8 feet or more, I would say. So it's certainly grown quite a bit since I was here last, which obviously is a good thing. So we're just going to do a little tour of the edge of the field. I can see a lot of grasshoppers and stuff out here eating on it a little bit, but that's fine. Everything looks pretty healthy, and as I said, over 6 feet tall, which is great. At least in this little area. Obviously there's some blank spots, some empty spots, but looking pretty good. And then some of the stuff in the middle here, not as high, but still making some progress. So looking pretty good. You can see over there in the far side, there's quite a bit of tall stuff over there, so that's looking good. Basically, I'm gonna have my first harvest this year, as I've talked about previously. I'm gonna cut down all of the stems, grind them up, make them into wood pellets so that's nice and dense, and then turn those wood pellets into charcoal. So that's been the idea from the start, and we will certainly get a yield this year. Perhaps not as much as I was hoping for, given the empty spaces here and the relatively small heights of some of these, but we will still get a yield, and that's good. And then it'll be even taller and more full next year. I will probably fill in some of these spots actually next year to help make it a lot more thick for next year. So yeah, everything is looking good. So as I talked about last time, we did 2 different propagation techniques. So on the right is the water-rooted stem cuttings. You can see the old stems that are there still in the ground. And then on the left is our fresh cut stems that we simply put into the ground and are growing now. So looking at our water-rooted stem cuttings first, you can see that we have some good growth on a few of these at least. So this is probably about 6 inches tall, multiple leaves, looking pretty good. So that's the first one looking good, second one, third one. So all 3 of these look pretty healthy, and that's good. We get some growth on that one. You can see that some of these other ones that hadn't previously sprouted have nice sprouts on them as well. So there's another one. So we just counted, and of the 25 water-rooted stem cuttings on the right here that I planted earlier, about a month ago or so, 10 of them, or 40%, have sprouted, at least to a small extent. Some larger than others, but 10 out of 25, not a great ratio, but not too bad either. It's been pretty dry lately actually, so I think that it would be higher if it wasn't for how dry it's been potentially. But that is the water-rooted stem cuttings. And then let's go to the straight stems that we had planted, see how those are doing. So you can see that here is some growth, there's some growth, here's growth, here's some growth, there's some growth. Well, that's a nice one. That's also about 6-8 inches tall probably. So overall, I would say approximately the same levels of growth in both instances, about 10-ish on the left-hand side for the fresh cut stems and 10-ish on the right-hand side for the water-rooted stem cuttings. But as I said previously, the biggest test of this will be to see what sprouts up next year and survives the winter. So we will check back in here again probably, but the real test is going to be in the spring, see how many of each of these pop up, to see which will be our propagation technique going forward, because rhizomes, if you're buying 100, are not too expensive. Rhizomes, if you're buying 50,000, are a lot more expensive. So we hope that one of these two will be the method that we use going forward. I'm just going to show you a little panoramic of the field as well. So you can see, interestingly, that everything in this like front portion is a lot brighter yellow and significantly shorter. So everything about out here is maybe 3 or 4 feet tall for the most part, and then stuff farther in is a lot taller. So I'm not sure if the ground here is maybe not as is missing some nutrients perhaps, or something like that, but definitely taller over there and a little bit shorter over here, but still, you know, all good stems. And I may need to fertilize a little bit out here to improve the soil for the future, but we are going to have harvestable stems in both places, and we are making progress. So in case anybody missed the last video, I'm going to just quickly cover the basics of the retort again, and then start it up and see if we can't make ourselves some charcoal. So this is a 30-gallon drum, and inside of that 30-gallon drum is a 10-gallon drum. So what happens in general is that all of the wood that I'm going to pyrolyze is going to go inside of the 10-gallon drum. I'm going to set some wood pellets and stuff in the bottom of the 30. I'm going to start a fire in the bottom of the 30, and then hopefully the heat from the fire down there will heat up this drum here. It'll cause the contents of this to pyrolyze, so it'll be heated in the absence of oxygen. And then what will happen is that all of the, so there are going to be wood pellets in here, and then as this is heated up, the wood pellets will give off gases. Those gases are going to flow down this pipe right here, out the bottom right here, into the fire, and it will continuously self-heat, basically. At least that is the goal anyways. What happened last time, if you recall, is that this was, you know, obviously full of pellets, and what happened is that it charred around the outside like an inch or so, but the interior of it was not charred. So that obviously is not what we are going for. So what changes we are going to make this time, basically, so are twofold. So one, I noticed that like as I was dumping it out last time, all of the wood pellets like in the middle had all kind of like become mush, and there was no space for air between them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use fresh pellets instead. That will leave air gaps in there for the heat to hopefully infiltrate, and then for the gases to escape, so that it will hopefully continue to be self-heating. So a small change is that it's going to be fresh pellets in there that are going to be, you know, nice and discreet with air spaces between them, so that it hopefully heats more evenly and allows us to have more gases for the pyrolysis. And then the bigger change is that I'm going to insulate the outside of the bigger drum to hopefully hold in the heat and allow it to, you know, expend less of the heat to actually like stay going, so that hopefully if you have a lot more insulated of a drum, it will get a lot better and more full combustion. So if those two don't work, then I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board and potentially look at alternate furnaces, alternate retorts, you know, alternate ways of making charcoal, because that stuff is growing over there, and we need a way to turn those wood, or those Miscanthus pellets that we are going to make, into charcoal. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just dump out the ashes and stuff from last time. I'm going to insulate it and then start the process. So let's get to work. We had some trouble getting the fire lit last time, so what I'm going to do this time is use a little cardboard, hopefully, to help get the fire started. And again, just like last time, this basket is here to keep the wood pellets off of the bottom so that they get a nice airflow and complete combustion, because that is important for the process. Oh, it is raining slightly. I have to be quick. Certainly not ideal for this, but what we're going to do is we're going to take our wood pellets, we're going to fill it up to the top of this pipe here. I don't think it's going to rain too much, but any rain is less than ideal. Okay, missed a few, but that's fine. Speed is important here. Okay, so what we're gonna do again is hopefully this will pyrolyze and not combust, so that this will hopefully all become charcoal tomorrow. I also forgot the little seals on here, so we're just gonna have to put that on and hope that that is airtight enough for our purposes. Okay. Especially given the rain that we just had. Hearty amount of lighter fluid to get the party started. Our drum on top, seal it up. And put on the chimney. Okay, so now this is fully assembled, ready to go. We have our 30-gallon drum insulated this time, so that will hopefully help to keep the heat in, help to make more of a complete pyrolysis. And our 10-gallon full of fresh wood pellets to hopefully allow the vapors to escape and feed the process. So in the rain, we are going to get this started, and then we are going to see what happens. Sadly, no big fancy shots today, but hopefully that will get us what we need to go. So we are definitely getting some good combustion now, which hopefully is a sign that we are going to make some good charcoal. So it is really cooking. Hopefully this is the retort mode, but we will check back on it tomorrow and see if we made some charcoal, but certainly we have made some smoke at least, so hopefully this is a positive indication. So it's the next day and we're back at our retort here to see if we made some charcoal. So as you can see, it is fully not smoking, which is a good thing. Also, it looks like we had a little bit of melting action going on, so our oh, that's quite interesting. Looks like the fiberglass potentially melted, actually, which I didn't know that could happen. But this is kind of, the insulation is a little bit damaged. But hopefully that's a good thing, in that if it got hot enough to melt the outside, hopefully it fully made charcoal, so we'll see. Nice, pretty interesting color on the chimney. Set that down. One thing that you need to be very careful of when you are making charcoal is that you want to make sure that it's fully extinguished before you open it up, because this is basically pure carbon, and it can relight if you open it up and expose it to a lot of oxygen, which would be a bad thing. But so I got a little tote to dump the results into. we can see what it looks like. So as I said earlier, this was not clamped on, so that is not super ideal, I suppose, but it makes it easier for us to open it up. So the result, it does feel light, which is a good thing, but we will see if we made some charcoal. So 3, 2, 1, open. Ooh, that looks promising. So you can see that it reduced in volume a bit. So it was at, you know, approximately the level of the pipe here, but now it's perhaps a little bit lower than that. But honestly, this looks as good as I could imagine. Everything on the top seems carbonized, so I'm just gonna dump it out real quick and see if everything throughout the container did carbonize or not. So that's perfect. That's exactly what we were looking for. So as you can see, there's no wood left. It's all charcoal. So that is a success. Excellent. Cool. So I'm gonna wrap this up, and then we made charcoal. That's our goal. So task complete. I'm gonna have to probably toss out the fiberglass, unfortunately, as it's melted in certain spots, but I can buy some new fiberglass. That's not a big deal, or some other insulation that is a little bit more robust. But we got 100% conversion to charcoal. That's exactly, excuse me, what we were looking for. So our addition of the insulation and of the free-flowing wood pellets got us what we wanted. So success. So once again, here is the biochar that we just made. I'm just going to talk a little bit about why this is important. So yesterday these were wood pellets, and today these are lightweight charcoal. And why that's important is because if you are interested in sequestering carbon, as I am, from the atmosphere and locking it away for a long time, it's important for it to not break down, So if we had just put these wood pellets in the ground as wood pellets, obviously they would degrade, they would rot very quickly. But actually, as biochar, the carbon here is locked up. It's a lot more resistant to degradation, and it can actually stay for hundreds of years locked up in the ground, and it won't decompose nearly as fast as it would if it was just the wood or the grass itself. So this is the purpose of our experiment, basically, is to make biochar, because this is how you lock the carbon away for hundreds of years. So this is an excellent result, and I couldn't be happier with how it's turned out so far. So what we are going to do next is we are going to test it and see how resistant it actually is to degradation. So I'm going to send off some of this for assay and look at the carbon to hydrogen ratio, because the lower that is, the more, well, the lower the hydrogen to carbon ratio is, the more resistant it is to degradation, and the longer it will last in the soil. So I'm going to see how that ratio looks as a proxy for how stable it will be in the ground. But overall, I mean, we got complete conversion of our wood pellets to charcoal here, as you can see, and I am super excited. So onwards and upwards. So in this video, we looked at our water-rooted stem cuttings and our fresh cut stems and saw that each of them had about 10 or so plants coming up, so that is good. We are going to look at those next spring and see how they do over the winter. And then our charcoal experiment was a complete success. So there was 100% conversion of our wood pellets into charcoal, so that's excellent. It did melt our fiberglass insulation, unfortunately, so we'll have to buy some new stuff for that, but otherwise, complete success. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.